Welcome back everyone, and today's video we're going to be looking at the lore of Ark, starting off with Helena Walkers' Extinction Explorer Notes 1 to 30. So with that being said, let's get into it. It's been a while since my last entry, hasn't it? Between all that happened with Rockwell back on the station, and the shock of arriving planetside, I've been in a bit of a rut. Even cataloguing the new species I've found has done little to ease my mind. Things down here are so mental that some people are wondering if we were safer before. Honestly, they might be right. Maybe that's why we were trapped on those stations to begin with. Luckily, Santiago's plans have given us all something to do. I'm hardly an ace with technology, much less giant bloody robots. But after all that's happened, I owe it to these people to lend a hand in whatever way I can. It's hard to believe that this is actually Earth, but the proof Santiago provided is undeniable. The lack of night is disconcerting though, unless you really enjoy apocalyptic events. Could the Earth's rotation slow down? Or worse, stopped entirely? No, that's rubbish. With the atmosphere out of control, all those abandoned buildings would have been decimated by wind, and those giant creatures would never survive the shifting oceans, extreme temperatures, and weakened magnetic field. Yet, if all those space stations above us could somehow form a magnetic barrier and repair the atmosphere, well, anything's possible at this point. Maybe there's real purpose, or maybe they're behind this mess in the first place. Whatever the truth is, I have to find it. There's no way I'm getting squashed by some monster before I do. These machines Santiago's building are brilliant. Somehow he simplified the controls so that even a weirdo biologist like me can move these big blokes as if they're our own body. Me, piloting robots. I've completely lost control of my life, honestly. Even Mei Lin was able to synchronize with one. And for a second, I swear she cracked the tiniest of smiles. I think that brought me more relief than the mechs themselves. She's fought so hard to get here and been through so much, especially that nightmare with Rockwell and Diana. I hope that at the end of all this, I can help her find some shred of real happiness. She deserves it. I had a talk with Santiago today, a real one. I mean, not the sarcastic banter that his preferred method of communication. I was pretty surprised. I didn't think he had an off switch. He's been thinking about the cloning chambers we found on the station. Are we clones of real people? If so, are we responsible for their actions? And what was the point of it? All the questions I've asked myself, but rarely had the chance to discuss. I told him that we can't control any of that, and that all we were really responsible for is how we lived from now on. I'm not sure that's the answer he wanted, but for now, that's the best I have. Why does it always feel like everyone's making sacrifices for me? Rockwell, Mei Lin, Rhea, Diana, and now Santiago? Just before we could finish powering on the mechs, the monsters finally attacked in force. Only one of the machines was operational, so Santiago used it to lure them away. By the time Mei Lin and I managed to power on our suits and fend them off, he was gone. There was no sign of him. Well, it won't be for nothing. Santiago, with the tools you've given us, I'll find the truth behind all this. Then I'll have those better answers you were looking for. I promise. With Camp Omega compromised, we've decided to head for the wastes. There's not many of us left, and there's only 3 mechs remaining. Piloted by Mei Lin, myself, and the fiery URE bloke named Kazuma. So we can't form that super weapon Santiago designed. That means if we run into anything too big or too nasty, it'll be in trouble. Yet we don't have a choice. The answers are somewhere in that wasteland, and hopefully safety along with them, sorry. God, this whole piloting thing still feels bizarre, but I guess my nervous system just linked up with the machine really well. And it's what I wanted, isn't it? I'm finally something more than dead weight for other people to lug around. I can do my part. I just hope I don't let everyone down. The mutated creatures in this wasteland can be vicious as they are grotesque. But so far, we've been able to fend them off in the mechs. There have been a few close calls that have me worried though. The other day, Mei Lin just sort of charged in without warning and nearly got herself blindsided. Not that I'm any sort of tactical expert or anything, but it just seems a bit reckless. That's not an isolated incident either. She's constantly trying to take on more enemies than Kazuma and I. I don't think it's a matter of ego. With Santiago gone, it's like she's put the burden of protecting the survivors on herself alone. Doesn't she realize that I'm right here, finally able to share the load? Somehow I need to make her see that. It's funny how the one subject that managed to put Malin at ease still had to do with fighting, after a fashion anyway. I said that I wanted to talk strategy, but mostly I just ended up showing her all the ridiculous tag team moves I've been sketching out for our mechs. The Dossier Diver, the Bio Beast Bomb, G'day May. This stuff was gold. I can't believe she didn't go for any of them, but at least she lightened up a bit. For a while, it was almost like we were back on the island. Failing to cook a decent meal, chatting about raptors. Bloody hell. You know your life's a mess when the good old days have you stranded on an island full of dinosaurs, don't you? Yet, here we are. I'm still amazed we actually tried that. And more incredibly, it actually worked. When Malin said she wanted to try the "may I help you" maneuver, I thought maybe she'd taken a knock to the head. But we really pulled it off. If only Santiago was here to see it. What an absolute ripper. To be honest though, I was terrified through the whole thing. I'm scared to death every time I get in that mech, but I'll keep doing it. I can't just rely on Malin all the time, and even she can't fight all these battles alone. I think she's starting to see that too. I know it's likely that my memories are implants, but they're so clear that I still think of them as mine. They still shape me. Maybe it's just denial, but I can't help it. I remember growing up in Darwin. The sunsets on the coast, the splendour and the fury of the storms in the wet season, and I volunteering in Kakadu whenever I could. I was an obnoxious little bugger, chasing after my next great discovery, but usually just finding trouble. I suppose that hasn't changed, has it? I'm still just hopping from one adventure to another. After this is over, if we find what we're looking for in this wasteland, what then? Will that be it? My last adventure? Somehow, I doubt it. Even though he's gone, Santiago keeps coming through for us. The signal he found, the one he talked to me about, I think we're finally locked onto it. We picked it up a few hours ago and it's only been getting stronger. With a bit of work we should be able to triangulate its position. I'm not sure what exactly we'll find there, but if there's even the slightest chance that it's linked to those space stations or what happened to the planet, then we've got to investigate. I think this is the spark we need to lift everyone's spirits. We're one step closer. Why is this a debate? We finally have a clue and everyone wants to hide in a cave and what? Just try not to die? Sure, we don't know what lies at the other end of the signal, but that's the point. You climb the mountain to find out what's at the peak. We vote on the matter tomorrow and my stomach's passing the time by tie itself into knots. Could I really have come all this way just to be stopped dead by a few raised hands? Part of me thinks that even if I lose the vote, I should just head off on my own. But well, there's a bit of a complication. Mei Lin is voting for the other side. Not everyone sees things the way I do, but that doesn't make them wrong. I owe Mei Lin for reminding me of that fact. I can't remember exactly what it was I said to her, something about the signal was the only thing on this bloody wasteland that mattered, but her reply stopped me cold. Your voice just then. It sounded like Rockwell. I didn't say much after that, for a change. Mei Lin did most of the talking. Unlike me, she doesn't care about the mysteries of this place. The space stations, the end of the world, none of it. She just wants to keep us safe. Me safe. I should be grateful for that. I mean, I am, but I need time to think. It's been a day of reversals, I guess. I'd slunked off to brood somewhere, and Mei Lin tracked me down to talk. Mostly about a subject we've been avoiding. Diana. Since she opened my wound, she opened hers, she said. It didn't feel like a fair trade. The way she clutches that necklace and how she smiles when she remembers the woman who gave it to her. There's a gentleness there that she offers to nothing else. To preserve with a wound so deep that it may never heal. Her will must be extraordinary. But maybe it helps that we're limping onward together. And maybe as long as we're here to prop each other up, we'll see this through. In the end, Mei Lin changed her vote, and the eyes had it. We're following the signal. As the signal grew stronger, I've been anticipating catching our first sight of the source. This afternoon, it finally happened. It's a massive, monolithic structure that somehow looks ominous, even on the horizon. I mean, honestly, what was I expecting in a place like this? A pub? The ruins we've seen aren't exactly brimming with hospitality, or pints for that matter, sadly. That said, it does seem to stand apart from the other buildings, almost as if it was built separately. That would make sense if it's connected to the station somehow, and also explain why it has power. As to the purpose, well, there's only one way to find out. This place is even more gigantic and foreboding up close. If the architects were trying to instill an impending sense of dread in their visitors, then well done, they absolutely nailed it. Really, I campaigned for us to come here, and now even I'm worried about going outside. That's a bit embarrassing, isn't it? Well, no sense in putting it off. The entrance is too small for mechs, which means we could be in here for days exploring it on foot. Of course, we could cover more ground if we split up, but given the building's aesthetic and my rudimentary knowledge of horror films, I expressly advised against it. Alright, here we go. Let's see what we can find. There's a dark sort of beauty to this place. The technology we've found so far is beyond even our mechs or tech armor, and there are rows upon rows of it, humming softly and pulsing with an eerie light. From the way it's organized, it's almost like a library or a server room. In fact, that's exactly what I suspect it is, an archive. In other words, my instincts were right. This is the place we're finally going to uncover all the answers we've been seeking. It has to be. If the civilization that built those space stations stored their knowledge within these halls, the secrets behind everything we've been through must lie somewhere in here. All I need to do now is find a way to access it. We finally just managed to get a terminal working, and well, this is it. I almost can't believe it, but I finally found it. The mystery behind those stations, the whole reason we even exist, it's all right here. According to this, those space stations are deliberately designed biodomes called arks, and they're exactly what they sound like, lifeboats. Whatever happened to Earth, whether it was element-based technology like Santiago suspected, or something else, these arks were built to preserve and cultivate life in all forms, fauna and flora, and of course, human, safely separated from the planet's poisoned surface. But something's gone wrong. There's all sorts of errors here. Maybe that's why they turned into such death traps. There's something about a reseed protocol too. I need time to look over this. Sorry if I'm a bit loopy. I've been deciphering the information we found for 2 days straight. Stuff sleep anyway. I could run on data. So that reseed protocol I mentioned, apparently that's the endgame of the arks. They're supposed to return to the planet, and when they do, all the life they're cultivating will spread across the surface. In theory, this might make Earth habitable again. That's where all the errors come in. The reseed protocol never initialized. I can't figure out why though. It just says the conditions have not been met. Damn it! This can't be it. All the answers are here, but this is the only terminal we've got working. I've got to find another way to access the archives. Maybe that artifact Maylin mentioned? She said it was pulsing with some sort of energy, so it probably has power. I'll ask her to show me where it is. Before Maylin even showed me what she'd found, I knew I was in for something bizarre, but I didn't think it would be quite like this. When I reached out to touch the artifact she found, I felt it like my hand was caught in its gravitational pull. I couldn't stop myself from touching it. Some of the details are fuzzy after that, but the next thing I knew, the artifact was gone. Instead, I was staring at an enchanting diamond-shaped object, a prism of raw cosmic energy. I didn't get the chance to examine it any further before Maylin confiscated it for safety. I guess I can't blame her. Caution, but I'm fine, really. Sure, my head feels like a cracked eggshell, and there's still tingles running across my body, but I'm physically uninjured. Somehow, I have to convince her to let me study it. It's just, when I touched the artifact, I felt something, saw something. I need to understand. When I said things got fuzzy when I touched the artifact, that's not really the whole truth. I remember bits and pieces of it, images flipping across my vision in rapid succession. At first, they were hard to distinguish, but now that Maylin has allowed me to study the prism at the distance, they're gradually becoming clearer. A man made of light, monsters roaring, a sky on fire, they don't seem like memories, at least not mine. If the prism put those images in my head, well, that's a little frightening, honestly. Maylin is right. I need to tread carefully here. As much as I want to know the prism's secrets, if I delve for them too deeply, I could lose myself to it. We both saw where that could lead back in that violet pit. I should apologize for pushing that matter. By now, Maylin and I can understand each other with only a handful of words. I just said I was sorry for being short with her, and that was that. She knows how much this means to me, and I know that she just wants to protect me, even from myself. I even told her about the images I'm seeing. She dismissed them as nonsense, but I'm not so sure. They're growing clear with every day I spend studying the prism, and one in particular keeps coming up. In it, a single room, in the depths of a cave, it's both a tomb and a throne. where a coffin-like structure sits on a raised platform surrounded by silvery metal and glowing crystals. The walls glimmer and the light shines down from above. Or is it rising up from below? I can't tell. What does it mean? Anything at all? Or do I really just need to get more sleep? Possible hallucinations aside, the prism itself is fascinating. It's similar to one of Santiago's hard-like constructs, but it seems more solid. At first, I suspect it was plasmaral element, but I'm beginning to think that's unlikely. However, I do know one thing for certain, its shape. Somehow the prism has the same size and profile as the slot in the center of our wrist implants. Yes, that may seem obvious, but I was so distracted by everything else that I never noticed. So is that what it is for then? Am I meant to just pop it in there like a data drive? Oh god, what if that is all it is? Did I go through all this trouble just to see a family of cyborgs holiday photo album? Wait, do that one again. Mum closed her optical lens. I joke, but if it really was just something mundane, if there was no answers, what would I do then? After studying the prism for all this time, I'm only certain of one thing. If I insert into my implant, something will change forever. Myself probably, but maybe not. Who's to say I would even survive the experience? Whatever the case, I think that's what it wants from me, and it wants it urgently. And me? I still want answers, but I keep seeing Rockwell's mutated visage and hearing Malin's words. Is this how he felt towards the end? Well, I won't make his mistakes. Malin, Raya, Santiago, and all the others who helped me get here made sure of that. I'll only use the prism if I'm sure it can't hurt the people I care about, and if that means never learning the ultimate truth of the arcs, so be it. Up until now, the images I've been seeing have been brief and disconnected, like a collage, but this last dream was different. It was a full, coherent vision, if it a bit abstract. In it, I saw violet fingers crawling at bedrock, knuckle deep in soil. They reached further, stretching and splitting and spreading like a web as stone crumbled beneath them, until at last they found a molten heart, its cadence soft and steady. Without pity, they grasped it in their twisting tendrils and squeezed. The heart's rhythm slowed, then stopped altogether, and at last it turned to cold, lifeless stone. As the heart died, strings of shadows shot from the violet fingers. I traced them across cracked and drying flesh, and when the strands ended, I saw it, an army of monstrous shadows, hunting for even the smallest glimmer of light, and they were marching right towards me. Any thought of those images being hallucinations evaporated when Kazuma came back from his scouting run this morning. An army of monsters is headed our way, and I don't think it's a coincidence. They're after the prism, that has to be it. So if I get rid of it, no, I don't think that will work. Those monsters won't stop with prism. They'll devour everyone who came into contact with it. Somehow, I just get that feeling. Ugh. Why am I only getting visions of how doomed we are? Show me something I can do to save my friends, you lambent little bludger. Damn it all. Maybe I'll think of something once we're on the move. For now, we've got to get the hell out of here. I've only slept once since leaving the archives, but in that brief moment of respite, another vision came to me. I saw a ladder, stretching from beneath the earth to high above the clouds. I was climbing it, ascending rung by rung, and carrying someone over my shoulder. Our pace was slow but patient. Somewhere beyond the sky, I was sure the ladder had an end, even if I couldn't see it. From below, monsters roared and raged. They couldn't climb the ladder. They couldn't reach us. Even the tallest of them, a towering king of death, could not harm us. And as I climbed, I could see a familiar light shining from within my wrist. Is that it? Is that how I can help everyone? Or was that me just seeing what I wanted to? I need to decide, and soon. We're running out of time. I feel like my stomach has twisted itself into a cat's cradle. When Malin refused to give me the prism, I stole it. I know she wants to keep me safe, but our backs are against the wall here. If there's a chance this thing can save us, then I need to have it within reach. Still, I know the danger it possesses, so I'll only use it as a last resort. Not to solve any ancient mystery or to make a grand discovery, but to help her and everyone else. If things are dire and the prism's the only chance I have to help, then it's worth the risk. I'm sorry, Malin, but we promised that we'd prop each other up, didn't we? Maybe this isn't how you envisioned it, but this is the only way I can hold up my end of the bargain. I hope you can forgive me. It worked. The prism, it worked, but I hesitated. And now we're only two. Only two. Everyone else is dead. Everyone else. Am I dying too? Is this how it feels? Is that why I keep seeing the tomb? The tomb. Again and again. The tomb. The throne and the ladder. The ladder. I see it once more. I am climbing still, above the clouds and into the stars. I think I see the end, but when I try to grab the next rug, my hand turns to dust. I try to scream, but I make no sound. I'm slipping away. I see their faces. Rockwell, Raya, Diana, Santiago, Malin. I reach for them. I have to find purchase. There must be something I can grasp. Something. The tomb. The tomb. I'm sorry, Malin. I'm sorry. The weight's all on your shoulders now. There's no one else who can carry it. The tomb, the throne, you have to reach it. You have to take me there. To the tomb of ascension. I can show you the path, but you have to walk it alone. I wish it weren't true. I wish I could give you wings. But I believe in your heart, so believe in mine. One last time. I need you to believe. Please. Please. Hey everyone, I just want to say thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you learnt a lot about the Lore of Ark, just like I did. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you in the next video. Take care.